let's talk about this because it's leaked big time. Project Keenan. Project Keenan is Microsoft's handheld project. Let's just call it that. Okay. They are pretty much doing what everyone has predicted.
Yeah.
They're going to build a framework, a UI, a skin, an ecosystem, and then have everyone outside of Microsoft make the hardware.
It's the 3DO in 2025.
It's the Steam Deck approach is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Interestingly, they've looked at Steam and they've said, you know what, or Valve, and they've said, you know what, this is working for them. People like the PC handheld, and there's a bunch of PC handhelds out there. And I think to some degree for enthusiast gamers and tinkerers and people who want to hack and put PSP games on it, it's a great little system. I even came close to buying one myself. But where Microsoft are going off the rails, for me personally, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with this and see it when it gets executed, is Microsoft have a stupid, horrible history of wanting to shove Windows on absolutely everything they touch. Everything. They make a fridge, they shove Windows on there. Zoom, they want to shove Windows on there. Windows is bloated, it's horrible, it's slow, it's foul. And the reason, and this goes back to the origins of the Xbox story, Xbox was successful because they stripped Windows down to its core OS. They removed all the bloat to the point where Seamus Blackley and the 4 other guys that demoed it for the first time to Bill Gates leapt out of his seat and said, why doesn't Windows start as fast as this?
Yeah.
And then they had to say, well, Bill, we had to take this, and that, and this. And he got really annoyed by the fact that they stripped Windows down. But then it made the Windows team say, well, actually, we can do better. It took 4 seconds to boot the original Xbox. 4 seconds.
Yeah.
On Pentium 3 equivalent hardware. And so ever since then, the mid-90s, Microsoft tried to do tablets before the iPad ever came out. iPad came out in 2010.
Yeah.
So 15 to 20 years they tried to do it. And they failed because why? They put Windows on a tablet. It wasn't optimized for the battery. The graphics and icons were too small. You couldn't put your finger anywhere because it was made for a mouse. In fact, you have to drag your finger to drag the mouse cursor and then double tap, which was rubbish. They hadn't thought the UI through. And what I'm seeing here is a notable trend. They're going to do it again. They're going to do it again. They're going to shove Windows 11 or some version of Windows 11, Windows 11 ARM, which most likely will be the case, shove it onto an Asus, whatever it's going to come out at the end of this year.
It's probably an Ally X reskin.
Probably, or an Ally 2 or something, whatever it's going to be. It's confirmed that Asus is going to be the first. They're going to use Asus as kind of the bait, right? They get the exclusive dibs on it. They sell a bunch in the meantime. They'll grow their sort of core base. And then Microsoft allegedly are going to release the Microsoft branded one next year. And then by that time, they'll open up the exclusivity, or they'll end the exclusivity to other manufacturers. And we've got MSI confirmed, Lenovo, I think, Asus is obviously there, and a few others I forget the names of. I can't see it right now. But when I think about what they're doing, it's like they are literally trying to replicate the success of the Steam. And to some degree, I think they will do it. There will definitely be a core audience. But Windows on battery-operated devices, especially when you're gaming, I'm
well, that was the reason why I didn't get an Ally, because the battery life on it was woeful.
Right. And there will be people that will argue, well, the Switch is only 3 hours. Well, yes, but I can almost guarantee that the Switch 2 is going to be a bit longer than 3 hours. There's a reason why the first Nintendo Switch ran on Android. There's a reason why the Steam Deck runs on Linux. There's a reason why even Apple, they took Mac OS as the iOS core foundation, and they stripped it. They removed the entire top Cocoa layer, which was the UI and all the bloat that the desktop can handle. And they re-implemented the UI. They rethought how this is going to work. We need it to be optimized for the battery. Windows has struggled for decades to adapt, and all they keep doing is patching it, tweaking it here, tweaking it there. And other devices have really found their foot in Apple, especially being the biggest. Android being another one. They've got a massive global dominance. Windows Mobile failed. Let's not forget that. You know, so other than this, I mean, even the Surface tablet, all right, got a little bit of steam, no pun intended, but it didn't really, it wasn't a serious iPad competitor. It was more of a business tool.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I haven't seen anyone carry one in probably 4 or 5 years. So what are we doing here?
Well, I so obviously going back to what Phil Spencer came out in a recent interview in terms of a dedicated handheld, he said that was several years down the pipe. So I'm guessing this is kind of like a halfway house, plug the need, and if what we've heard is correct, that this is going to satiate the base layer Series S line and this new console that they're apparently working on in 2027. So goodbye 2026.
Well, they're saying the handheld is going to be, and I caught something the way Jason Ronald was talking about the future in the latest official Xbox podcast. He said, and even the chick next to him, Fatima, who kind of does the AI stuff,
Yeah.
they both said we'll be announcing something later this year about the future or something to that effect. So all the rumors are kind of coinciding together now. It's all adding up. We know that there's going to be an announcement for the handheld this year. And if they can squeeze it out before Christmas this year, even better for them. But they are going to have a horrible time trying to go up against the Switch 2. We know, look, it's March now as we record this. This is perfect. We get an announcement in 2 weeks about the Switch 2. Pre-orders open in, let's say, August, September, October. And guess what? It releases November 14th. A whole month and a half before Christmas or whatever. That's like the perfect rollout. That's why it's happened this way. It's normally how it goes. Historically, Microsoft have announced their new consoles at E3 or E3 time, summer. And then a year and a half later, Christmas, that's when the launch is. The only one that didn't fall victim to that was the Series X. They did it at the Game Awards show. But, well, no, they showed the hardware, but they announced it at E3, yeah. So, if they're going to go up against the Switch, if they're ballsy enough to think that the Switch is different or their hardware is different enough that they've got a fighting chance, I think they're going to be very shocked. I think they're going to be very shocked. This whole approach of let's all play Kumbaya, sit around the campfire and have a device that has multiple storefronts on it. Okay, it's great for the consumer, but it just waters down the whole thing.
So what is it? I'm guessing it's going to be the Xbox for PC version of the store that they'll do then, right?
I would imagine, yeah, it'll be the Xbox store, or they're going to call. I've started seeing it pop up in places called Microsoft Gaming now, which sounds like it's aligning with the overall brand. So even there, it sounds like it's killing off Xbox as a brand. But so I think by default, out the box, you set everything up. It will be in an Xbox or a Windows environment, whatever, and then through sort of side loading, you'll be able to install Steam for it, and there'll be other stores, maybe the Epic store, maybe there'll be another store that they'll open up and whatever. I don't know, man. I like. It's weird because there was a time in history where a one device fits all was great.
Yeah.
But we've been there, and I feel like Microsoft are harking back to those days, in the late 90s, where it's like, no, that didn't work. It's not going to work now with more powerful hardware and more powerful games. It's not like the hardware is getting better and the games are not. Games are getting more demanding with the hardware going up.
Yeah.
This is still being operated by a battery. Windows is still bloated. You need to kill. Why do you think the Xbox runs like dog shit?
Yeah.
The OS, even though the Series X is like technically on paper more powerful than a PS5, as I'm navigating through menus, like it freezes and stuff. If I'm in a game and I hit the guide, I get a stutter as the side menu loads in. If I hit record, then the whole thing craps out for like 10 seconds while it does what it needs to do. Whereas the PS5 OS, I'm doing things, it's just working as it should. It's a different device for a different need. Microsoft's one size,
Would you get if you had the multiple storefront in a console, home living room console style form factor in 2027, and it gives you access to a whole heap of PC stuff you've never been able to play before, on a living room, big screen, is that I said that no one's occupying the Nvidia Shield space, which was a bit early. Shield came when it wasn't quite ready, and it looks like it definitely seems like that's where Microsoft's going now. I would be quite interested in having that because, as nice as it is to play PC games currently on my Steam Deck, you can't replace the big massive screen
You can't.
experience, you know?
And as I'm getting older, I hate sitting at my desk more and more. And I work from home, so I'm there all day. Now I've got a PC game. No, I want to go and sit on the sofa with my legs up. Yeah, you know, call me a pessimist. I really despise this new Microsoft, and the only people it's benefiting from this is Microsoft, because they get to sell more games across more stores and platforms. And they're doing this purely for the developers. Now, instead of making, you know, 2 versions of a game, or 3 versions, or 4 for Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and Windows, you now get to make one version of that game that ports between Windows and all the handhelds. So they're going to cannibalize the market. So it's great for developers.
Yeah. How's that going to work, though? If they're opening up multiple storefronts, right? How's that going to work from... Is it you just basically, as a gamer, you can access games from multiple storefronts, but they might be the same games that are listed in multiple storefronts? Is it just going to be a case of you select the best price, whoever's got the deal on?
Well, that's how it works with physical retail, isn't it? So you've got, you know, store A sells it for $29.99. Store B says, I'll sell it for you for $29.99, but you get a free T-shirt. In this case, we get a free download or something like that. There's 2, I think I've mentioned this on a previous episode. There's 2 ways they can go about this. One, they can have a store button on the dashboard somewhere. Once you get to that store page, you'll have a choice of different storefronts. And you select Steam, Xbox, Microsoft Gaming, Epic, whatever other bootleg storefronts open up in the future. That's one way of doing it. Or, and I think this is probably the more modern approach, is you go into the store page, you don't select a storefront, you browse through the games. When you go to the game page, like let's say I pick up Resident Evil 9, I go in there, then when I click on the price button, a drop down appears saying, okay, Microsoft Gaming, $69.99, Steam, $49.99. You choose from there where you want to have it tied to. And Microsoft have been good about tying in other accounts. You've got your Discord set up now and your Microsoft profile. You've got, I think they removed X, but at once upon a time it was there. Facebook was there. I think there's something else there as well. Streamlabs, YouTube Gaming. There's a bunch of, you know, integrations in the OS. I just don't want everything to become Windows. That's my issue. For those that love it, fine. Grab a PC and go nuts. I'm not anti-PC gaming. I'm anti-Windows having to be spread across everything. You know, it's Windows sucked for the Xbox One, sucked for the One X. We're still seeing remnants of it on the Series X. We haven't had a new dashboard in like over a decade. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Switch 2, simple, snappy, apart from the eShop. That'll get rewritten though. PS5, amazing dashboard, snappy, everything works. Picture in picture, game sharing. You know, it's great. It works. It's fast. It's modern. It's, for God's sake, it's got HDR. And the Xbox dashboard still doesn't have HDR. Windows struggles with HDR on PC. You see, it's all the problems that you have on PC are shared across every device that Windows is integrated with. Yeah. I don't like it. And I don't want to get to a point where I've now got to put Norton antivirus on my handheld just because some bloody game got infected. I don't want to go back to those days. There's a reason why I went Mac. I don't know. I don't see it working as well as Microsoft are hoping. I don't. I think it's going to be the new thing. It's going to disrupt gaming. It's going to get people excited. I think people are going to go, wow, for the first 6 months. And then it's going to be... You're going to see the YouTube videos. 6 months living with my ROG Ally 2. Well, it's great. It works. But, man, this battery sucks. Man, the fans. Oh, man, the heat pumping out of this thing. Oh, man, the Windows updates. I'm in the middle of a game and it's decided to update for the last 2 hours. Who the hell wants to deal with that? So...
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think there is that you know, if Xbox are going to survive, or if Xbox are going to justify making any more hardware in a living room type format, it's now they haven't got the games, that seems to be the only place left that they can go, and instead just having this open storefront, at least it gives them something they can say is different from PlayStation.
Yeah, you know? It's like you can't beat them, join them. Well, in the Microsoft case, you can't beat them, buy everything else or work with everyone else.
Yeah.